On the top right, we do have our blue Terran from Team Liquid. This is uThermal. And he is up against the red Zerg Solar. So Solar now 3-1 in the group. uThermal 0-1. Obviously, uThermal's got a bunch of matches to basically play back-to-back here now. So, see what he can do about it. See what sort of position he can put himself into. Yeah, it's been an interesting group so far. With obviously Su now guaranteed out in that first place position. And still a win here would... this is his last match, so a win here would guarantee Solar second place in this group as well. Would obviously be a pretty big place for him again. Second place still goes through to the winner bracket. You do not start in the lower bracket. See Solar making his way out through the top side. We will see the spawning pool building of Solar in the main, so it's just Hatch, Gas, and Pool Reaper on the way. uThermal always a fun one to watch in TVZ. And starting on Ice and Chrome, I get the feeling we might see some uThermal battle cruisers and maybe some uThermal mech here. Ice and Chrome is always going to be mech or a proxy in my eyes. This is not the sort of map that's easy to play bio on in the slightest, honestly. Then we're going to go straight into second racks. Wow, so... One second, I need to cough. So this is obviously not going to be mech. This is going to be bio, but it's going to be bio in a way that Solar is probably really not expecting. This is what uThermal did to pick up a win in the against Lambo in the winner bracket of DreamHack SCG Masters Game 5. You just don't expect someone to play bio on Ice and Chrome, never mind a 2-on-1. So if that catches you off guard, that can absolutely just come in and kill you, and it's not easy to scout. It's not easy to scout at all with the, you know, huge map. Obviously hard to get the Overlords in position. The one thing Solar might pick up on is the lack of Hellions in this, as we do see our Reaper continuing through the bottom side. Stimpack is already building on the barracks, so already getting our Stimpack up and running. Factory will complete on the main base in a few moments, and this orbital going to finish morphing in to the natural expansion as well. A couple extra Marines going to be popping out shortly, as we do have, again, just this factory going to be done fairly soon as the starport sets up. Starport sets up in the main. Just going to see the reactor onto the factory already. Again, there's Reaper out on the far left-hand side, and just going to be seeing link speed is building from Solar. Is going to be done in just a few moments' time. So the Reaper of uThermal will hop up into the main base. And then hop back down. Not checking out for too much just yet. Things are Solar going to go wandering up the top right side. Couple of medevacs on the way then in the main base. Waiting for this 2-1-1 to kick in. Nah, Solar knows though, right? There's no way at this stage you don't realize the lack of Hellions and you don't start to figure out what's going on. So the single Evo chamber is already a sign of that. He realizes this is not a Hellion opening, this is a Marine opening. So he goes into the early Evo that gives you a Carapace upgrade, which is very important against the Marines because the Carapace, you're going to take more shots than you deal shots of. Here, and this is the 3 links for Marine. Not sure how worthwhile that really is overall for Solar. uThermal obviously will be 1 Marine short then for this drop, but away he goes. Medevac is seen by the Overlord. Doesn't want to stop to clean that up just yet. Obviously, he really wants to get this across the map as soon as possible. The SCV does dodge back to the right side of the engineering bay just to make sure it survives there. Nicely done. Here come our medevacs to Solar. Going to be checked right now to make sure he has enough. He's got Queens, he's got things. That should be the combination to deal with 2 medevacs of Marines. Of 49 drones, and that's why people were kind of, you know, backing away from this 2-1-1 for a while, as don't like this engagement. Let me just finish my thoughts first, but obviously Zerg's just got better and better at holding this attack with more and more workers, and that's why the 2-1-1 fell out of fashion a bit. So what happened here, though, was uThermal got some creep. He takes a fight here, and the Queens don't target fire down the medevacs, and I wonder if in that position, because of the green range nerf, these medevacs aren't as easily targeted as before, and that maybe buffs up the power of this 2-1-1 a little bit. Because you do generally rely on the Queens targeting the medevacs to push them back and to force the Terran to disengage. Obviously there, you were actually just fighting into a choke point of, you know, stimmed up, healed up Marines. And that obviously wasn't too fun for you. One laying out to that far right-hand side, as we will see the medevac loads a couple of siege tanks, and we'll take those through the top side and across to the far left. Plus one attack already coming through on the engineering bay, as we do see the push from uThermal. I mean, it's this follow-up that I'm maybe more worried about for Solar. He does have Bane speed on the way, he does have a carapace upgrade, but it's very committed from uThermal. You know, 3rd CC is late, it's just one engineering base, you'll have +1 attack. Love the tank position. You can elevate the Marines up into the back of this, and the tank's then going to provide coverage. This is going to deny some mining. Now, Solar has a base on the way up on the 4th base location, but hasn't got it ready just yet. Yeah, I like what uThermal's doing with the positioning on the map at the moment. Definitely makes a lot of sense as the Queens moving forward. They're going to take quite a bit of damage. Tanks get a first shot off on some Banelings. Wants to keep target firing those Banes. They're doing so far. Hey, he's gotten rid of all the Banelings. If you get rid of all the Banes, these Marines win this fight, and it's a terrible trade for Solar. Now you just load up more Marines. You go up to this high ground, you keep on pushing, and Solar, again, that's a horrific trade for him. All the Banes went down. This was a fully choked position. I'm not even sure uThermal was stimmed at one point. Feels like maybe he could have even gotten more done. Solar has transferred the drones to the bottom side base, but you still want to keep this base up. You don't want to be knocked down at just 3 bases as uThermal takes his own 3rd in the next few moments, that's for sure. Still pushing through, just going to see the Queens. A couple of them getting picked off already, so Queens continue to go down. I mean, it's also a good fight. In the center of the map, Lings trying to shut down reinforcements don't do that well. It's in a bit more Ling Bane up here, and actually catches the tank that's backing away. It's just Marines that are going to reinforce the position. Well, no tank at home to defend this spot, so it is just purely Marines. Try and fight those Lings. Forces a stim already. The Banes aren't here yet. Now we have this fight. Restim from uThermal. Uses to minimize the damage from these Banes. Rolling in after the SCVs. Tries to cut the corner off uThermal. I think it's done enough to minimize the damage there. Only 3 SCVs lost. Still holds this position, by the way. So still holding this spot over here. Solar's still on the 1 Evo chamber. Is just going to go into +2 carapace. uThermal will get a 2nd engineering bay with his armory. So 2-2 will start for uThermal shortly. Again, +1 armor about to finish up on the engineering bay. Marines, medevacs continue to set up, as we will see the Marines unloading and maybe ready to go into this hatchery once again. 5th base from Solar out to the bottom side. Keeping up the pressure on the left, then I like it. I love the pressure on this left side. Really keeping it up, really keeping it, making it difficult for Solar to ever really stabilize here as the Marines continue to trade out this hatchery. No transfusion there. I mean, Solar's just given up and gone to the 4th base at the bottom of the map, so I think finally uThermal can unsiege and just lift up and back away. How many Marines are here? He's gonna have to leave a few Marines behind. These tanks, 29 and 27 kills. How about that for some crazy damage done? That's a high set of numbers those tanks are boasting, and well, you can understand why. When the Banes ran in over here, it was a big fight. Those tanks got so much of the splash damage that made it work. Solo trying to counterattack, but uThermal's got plenty of units at home. Widow Mine drop lays waste to 11 workers on the 6 o'clock, and just as Solo's starting to mine from this base, he loses 11 drones on it. So Solo actually wasn't even on that high a drone count, only 57 after losing 11. And redroning now. He wasn't up on 80 or anything, and that's just because he hasn't really had a fourth base to saturate 80 drones with at all. Then back around into the middle. We see the Marines and Widow Mines pushing forward. And get up onto this high ground already. And still coming through. There's a lot of Ling Bane still over on the far right of this. Marines coming back in. Scans out on the bottom side. Again, tons of the Lings from Solar. Gonna be moving around and maybe wanting to run by into the natural. I mean, uThermal's just bringing everything back home, though, so actually he should be able to handle this. Because Widow Mine's already scary. These Lings do not have a way out, and this is going to be bad. You're going to fight with these Banes off creep? I mean, they got a first connection, which was okay. But once the Marines don't have to worry about the Lings, they can just split up. And they can just, you know, really focus on the Banes, and the Banes die before they even reach the Marines. So uThermal looking great in this game 1. He also looked great in some of the games against Su, though, and he did end up losing those. And hence why Su was able to come out of this group 5-0 already. Now uThermal is... well, he's looking great, and it feels like he's not going to let it slip anytime soon, right? Keeping this going is... the Marines will continue the bottom. Forces to cancel over here. And this is, if you're going to play Bio on Ice and Chrome, this is the kind of stuff you need. You need something that deals a lot of damage early. And by dealing a lot of damage early, you're able to, you know, give yourself a chance to really fight this. As these Banes all going down. Nice good micro again from uThermal. Again, damage done early, you get far enough ahead that the size of the map doesn't become as much of an issue. And the Bio can then play out from there. As we're going to see how Ling Bane wanting to run through this. The Marines are going to be splitting backwards. And just letting the Widow Mines deal damage, letting the Marines split and do what they need to do. Solo trying to retake this base up here now that he's finally cleaned up that position a few moments ago. So these Marines still splitting up. Marines stepping down this ramp. Bane's going to be chased. All of these Marines coming through there. Other Marines are uThermal splitting back. A lot of units coming across the map. The Widow Mine's getting over here as well. They are going to burrow up. Let's see some of these Queens taking some shots. Widow Mine's still lighting up. That's a huge Widow Mine. Solo's going to type out GG. I mean, it was only a matter of time as uThermal got that rally going. It was never going to stop from that position. As in the bottom left is going to be our blue Terran player, having taken the first map on Ice and Chrome. Big win. It is going to be uThermal. On the right hand side, our red Zerg is going to be Solar. Now, uThermal obviously uses a fun, tricky little build in game 1 to take that advantage, but what does he have for us in game 2? Something similar to kind of get into a good position and really, you know, pry into an advantage from that. Extractor will set up in the main. Hatch gas into the spawning pool. All of this getting going as we do see our racks from uThermal. Just building up in the main. Just going to be seeing our overlords spreading out on the map. uThermal just going to expand with the Reaper. Just going to get an SCV scout to check it is a hatchery first. uThermal just with a couple of confirmations here to start things off in these early stages. SCV moving its way through the middle of the map, off on a bit of a journey. And the Reaper of uThermal going to finish in just a few moments, and SCV under the Overlord continues across to the right-hand side. A couple of queens building. The extra lings continue to go up. Be too surprised to see like a fast 3cc here from uThermal into that gold base and getting very aggressive from there into a big macro game. He actually dealt a lot of damage against Sue early in the game, if I'm not mistaken, when he played against Sue on Golden Wall yesterday. Killed a lot of workers, but in the end wasn't able to keep it going. Cooper hops out and up the right side. We'll see the third hatchery is already on the way. Third hatchery building, and there is the 3cc. So yeah, uThermal just going to approach this one with a bit more of a pure economy focus. And maybe a little bit more down to Solar to see how this game goes for the early stages. Is he going to do anything about it? Unlikely. It's a large map. You know, it's difficult to commit to a roach attack because it is large. It takes a long time to get across. In which case, he probably just says, well, let's macro then. So that's the, probably going to be the idea. This Reaper continues to move around in the center. Controlling left and right. We do see link speed is building up. It's going to be seen our command center from uThermal will be building in the main, as mentioned before. That's starport coming through. So from this, Hellions into a Viking. Could be a popular way to go about this, I'd imagine. That, or you just wait for the gas for the Liberator, because you start 2 more Hellions, so you ran low on minerals. Yeah, Hellions into a Viking, going to clean up some of these Overlords. That obviously helps a lot if he goes up against a Nidus attack. Means that then he doesn't have to worry about the Overlords and the Nidus as much, and that is just one of the it's a good way to defend against that. Just preemptively getting rid of the potential of a Nidus in your base when you're obviously not on that many units. You're on basically just a handful of Hellions here. As he does see some lings spawning on the natural, but nothing too crazy as uThermal is being pretty inactive, honestly. Just sitting up on this ramp, not really doing too much. Just kind of sat back and chilling for the moment. Hellions rose the first ling as the Marine and the Viking go after the Overlord. Liberator will go across the map as again just a few Hellions that you really just leave plenty at home, afraid of the counterattack. It's a very cautious play from uThermal as he sets up into the stim pack. Just says he doesn't need to go into a position where he's diving by. The only thing I would say is with less Hellions on the map, it is less presence to kind of shut down creep. And so that creep spread from Solo has been pretty much unobstructed so far, right? The Hellions have not been there to shut it down, stop it from happening, slow the Queens from deciding to place it or expand it. And I would say that's one of the big things for Solo, with the fact that uThermal's been very careful with the Hellions. There is now a lot of Hellions, though. 10 Hellions is way more than usual. Usually we talk about 8 being a few extra. It's a lot of Hellions, and if they dive by and there's not enough lings, this is problematic. And there's 23 lings on the map, but where they're going to come from, first shot isn't too bad. They're kind of coming from the back side of this. More lings start up from Solar. At the same time, Liberator goes into the main base. The Queen is there quickly to respond. That's where uThermal's going to get you as well. And these drones that are running from the Liberator are now in trouble. This is basically what he did to Sue, and he killed a lot of drones. He's going to kill a lot of drones here as well. He's killed 12. A lot of lost mine time. These Hellions aren't done yet. I mean, at the very least, they should trade out for at least a few more Zerglings as they try to make their way to another mineral line. Oh, he sees the drones and he gets some more workers. That works as well. Wow, he gets 5 more. 16 drones go down in the end. Of course, it's 16 drones accompanied by a good amount of lings also. And that just go uThermal's map control. So ling counterattack right away. uThermal realizes it and he pulls his SCVs away from the gold instantly. Apart from this one that just spawned. Drops his mule on the natural. Yeah, I like it. Makes sense and safe way to play it. As Solo just tries to get the most out of this as he can. Down on workers, needs to make some plays. Again, he should be able to keep the creep spreading without any issue, though. There's no reason that creeps should be slowed down at any point here. There's a few SCVs will start to mine the gold. The rest on the way over, and the Marines are going to be there to protect against that ling flood. That set of lings. As 1-1 continuing up, combat shields on the main base. And we do have all of the lings from Solar out over to the right-hand side. The extra Queens just building in the middle of the map, and they're going to go back to rejoin the lings on the right side as well. So all of that continues to get going. Viking of uThermal on a bit of a patrol, just keeping an eye out on Run-bys on the top side obviously maybe won't actually shut them down, but even just seeing them that little bit faster response time to lift your depot on the natural, uThermal just giving himself the vision to make this work. So this is why I get worried, just because uThermal was in this position against you yesterday and then was not able to close the game out. Played for a long game, got the second factory, got the fourth command center, but he wasn't able to close it out. He wasn't able to make it a win. And so you've got to be worried. A similar position here now. Solo just going to play pure Ling Bane as well, by the way, it seems. No tech structure off the last, so no Spire, no Hydroden. And there is a tech structure, the Infestation Pit, so it's just going to be straight through Ling Bane into Hive. Obviously with the Hive tech, you then can go into 3-3 and Adrenal Glands. You can go into the Ultralisk Cavern very quickly, I think is very important as well. If you're just going to play pure Ling Bane, then you need those Ultras pretty quickly because eventually your army gets overwhelmed. The Ultras coming up quickly really helps to kind of stabilize you against that a little bit, so that's where we are standing. 8 minutes into game 2 of Solo and uThermal. uThermal leading 1-0 here as he gets a drop off, and he's just going to commit for the cancel. And will lift and get out of there. Drop in the main base. He's going to unload in a little corner, and Solo is on his way over to deal with this. The thing is, this is the kind of setup from Solo which is meant to be counter-attacking, right? It's meant to be always active, always trading, and trying to run by at all points, but it's obviously not the case here as a lot of Lings go down running through this choke point. New spawn pool start, Solo says don't need it. And he didn't target it down, so he does just get the cancel off on it, and again, I'll say it, I like why uThermal was taking this game. The harassment seems good. He's keeping his units alive while harassing as well. So they are now going to join up to make this army even more powerful, give him more options, even just continue their harassment, right? I mean, that's obviously a pretty good reason for keeping these units alive as well. uThermal will not find much over here. Maybe if he drops, he could force a bad connection from a Baneling, but that's about it. He's actually going to make his way through the top side, so he's going to set himself up as... Oh my god! He just kills 30 Lings there with 2 Widow Mines. Solo running through the middle of the map. Not paying attention. Overseer wasn't there. And those 2 Widow Mines left behind find some big kills. Now the Lings getting over. 1 Widow Mine gets split away from this time. Solo paying attention to the Lings as they move across. We've seen uThermal. Let's continue to set up on this top side. 2-2 upgrade still about to finish on the engineering base. Then as the Ling Bane continues to go into the middle. Has the Ultra Cavern and the Spire, so with that Hive Tech in play, Solar is making a steps towards the things he needs. uThermal. How will he deal with that? One of the things that went wrong for him against Sue was he took a bad fight while trying to tech up into Liberators ready for the Ultras, and then the Ultras came out as well. And was in this kind of position as well. In fact, it was right here that it happened. As matter of fact, drop gonna go through, find a different base to land on for the moment. Love this, baiting Banelings into Marine range. That's just a complete waste of Banelings. uThermal doing a lot of fancy little bits and pieces. As the Tightness play has started, the +3 carapace is on the way. So again, we're getting steps closer toward the Ultralisks, which really would be a major help right now for Solo. He cannot wait to get Ultras on the map. It's going to help him massively. As the Lings and the Banes press through, one of the Banes gets targeted, the other one connects in, hits a few of the Marines. Another Baneling continuing to cross, and we do see these Marines showing up. Coming up this ramp and continue to trade out. The other Banes looking to get in here. The Thor coming along as well. Scan in the center. You'll see other Marines and a Marauder up to the top side. Hatchery taking extra damage. Lings will run through. Just around for this here. The Thor gets set up on the ramp. Green gets picked off as well, and again the Thor holding the ramp for the moment as other Marines continuing forward. A couple of Banes already being picked off. The Lings going down as well. And this attack from uThermal continues. He's killing a couple of drones here or there. Ultras are about to make their appearance though, right? So we're not far from that position. Maybe being more easily broken. Kindness playing finishes as well as the first Ultra runs into the fight. uThermal has not really been setting up much of a transition just yet. He's really just been looking to brute force his way through this position. These couple of Marines, oh my god, I love it. Just leaving a few Marines at the front there to tank. The Banes hold them off, create a wall. Amazing. Well, now the Widow Mine's going to start going off as uThermal will decide to just lift up and get out of there. Ling's trailing into this, man. There's just so many Widow Mines here. They get so many kills. Solar loses so much coming out to clean that up. uThermal loses all the mines. He's got a fifth base behind this, sixth base ready to move out. And again, this continued pressure from uThermal has been well executed so far. And now he's going to get Liberators out to help with the Ultras, but at the same time, Solo is getting into Corruptors to deal with the Liberators. So we're seeing both players making advancements in their tech to help the next stage of this game too. Command Center will land in the top left-hand corner. Things and Bane's not sure what they want to get up to. 3-3 upgrades coming in. Liberator going to be finishing soon from uThermal. We've seen that hatchery gets taken down, and the Lings and the Banes continuing up to the top side. Still a couple of Lings out the side there, and the Marines maybe want to go up to the main from the bottom of this hole. Top left, the Planetary Fortress took some damage, but does hold its own. A couple of Widow Mines left there to help kill units as they move in. Liberator sieges, and uThermal gets onto this high ground. Solar attempting to take the gold base now. There's already a Widow Mine here for drones transfer, and I love where all the Widow Mines are from uThermal. Feels like they're always reaching over ledges or over minerals. Stemming in, Ultra takes a few shots of damage. 23 drones just went down. This Widow Mine just got 19 drones. Oh, I literally just mentioned it. And Solar sent his drones over to saturate the base, and uThermal gets 19 of them. That's absolutely crazy as this Planetary Fortress is going to fall. He has a new CC to replace it with, though, and he's already got this base in the top left as well. He's actually got a base down here. uThermal's just got bases absolutely everywhere. Oh my god. Well, so cleans up this Widow Mine. He's not going to let that fire twice. Doesn't need to. It's already, done enough damage to have fired 6 times. Nothing too crazy in units lost just yet. As you can see, Solar's income's still good as uThermal resets. Only 51 SCVs in the game is the issue for uThermal, so it doesn't have a lot of income on the bases just yet. Yeah, so these bases are going up, and they've got like a bit of saturation on them, but not much. There's a few SCVs there. I kind of like that though, right? At least they are spread out, because that does mean that if you go for a big run by in one location, you don't have just one base that's fully stacked with workers. So you could argue that that maybe makes it easier to defend. Obviously, it's better if you have all those bases full of workers, but in this scenario, with the economy uThermal does have, I do like that they're kind of split up amongst different bases for the moment. So Bio pushing through this hatchery is going to take some damage, and we do see the Widow Mines firing. A lot of things being picked away at as, this is uThermal kind of getting cleaned up in this fight, and this is the sort of fight in that position which I've been a little bit worried for a little while. We've seen a couple more Widow Mine shots going off, Banes and Lings being blown up. uThermal getting some good kills as this army comes across the map. He can fall all the way back to his natural here on Golden Wall. He actually starts his army up here as well, so he could counter through for some damage as well. Yeah, he's not going to go too far. He's just checking if that base was up in the position he's already denied it in. It was not rebuilding. uThermal caught this base as well, so he got rid of the gold previously, and Nelly gets that Ultra. As Corruptors are going to chase down for a lot of medevacs here. uThermal should be able to turn for an Ultra or two, and probably gets this one as well if it gets close enough. Decided to turn it around. He loses a lot of medevacs, uThermal, but Solar is really running dry on minerals. He doesn't have much left anymore. And the Ling's backing away. The Banes and the Ultras to the far right side as well. The four Marauder drop from uThermal. May go and try and snipe some tech structures in the main, I guess. Why not? uThermal go and go Fusion Core. Now, that's not for BCs, my friends. That is just for some Liberators with the range. Range Liberator help a little bit more against those Ultras. Keep them a bit further back away from the Corruptors. Taking some damage. The bio out to the bottom side, and still just seeing the Fire Force coming through. A few creep team is already going down, and the rest of these Liberators continue to set up. Lings and Banes continuing through. I mean, uThermal's up maxed out against 170 of Solar, so unless Solar finds that really good fight, it's going to be problematic as the bio sits here. A couple of the Banes go down. The army of Solar backed away. The Lings want to run in once again, but again, not finding too much for themselves just yet, as an Ultra from the back side of this is actually going to just get liberated, and Widow Mines. uThermal going to split up a bit. The rest of these Banes continue to go down. Widow Mines burrowing up. They're going to help a lot against these Ultras. I mean, the biggest issue at the end of the day is probably just going to be the Corruptors, right? There's not really anything to fight the Corruptors. The Liberators have done their job for the most part. So a few Corruptors remain. uThermal is starting to add some extra Vikings into play. Widow Mine goes off. A bit more Lingbane being picked away at here. Another Widow Mine setting up onto a lot of Lings. Good split away from Solar this time around. Just going to be seeing again the Lingbane Corruptor army on the top. I say Ultras. The Ultras are all gone. He starts up one new one in the production. Look at Solar, man. He's got 3.5k gas. The fact he gets this base mine is huge. uThermal, being able to deny these bases again and again is what's allowed him to take, a big advantage in this. Solar is getting a couple of these bases up though, and especially if he mines from the gold base, that can absolutely be the difference in some economy for him to spend that gas and maybe stay in this. He's down 8,000 resources lost, and that's why he's needing to mine so much more, and obviously just hasn't been doing that. And this bio army just sits here. It's going to fight even with the medevacs gone. uThermal hits the top side as well, so just as it looks as though Solar gets these bases up and running, he'll lose one, he'll get the other one. Going to be fairly low. Obviously that may be a bigger target a little bit later when there's another attack to the top. For the moment though, this continues to go very well for uThermal, who will just sit here and trade this out. There's an Ultralist that can be targeted down. It's very low HP, absolutely worth getting the kill on it if you can. Queens have the transfusions. I think the Queens are looking for the transfusions on the Ultras. There it is. So uThermal loses just a few extra units in the last moments of this. 20 minutes in to Golden Wall for Game 2. uThermal again still leading this 1-0 in the best of 3 series. Big match as we do have the Corruptor showing up. They pick off the Liberator on the right side. Bio Army to the center. Widow Mines coming across as well. The Zerglings of Solar will run across to the far left side of this now. Widow Mine going to go up. Solar's going to type GG. We don't even get one big final battle. Solar's just going to give it up and say GG's. You guys want a little gift? Let's go back and watch this Widow Mine kill. I need to go rewind, don't I? Let's go back and watch this Widow Mine connect on that drone line. Just for the sake of completionism of what we see here. Alright. You guys ready for this disgusting Widow Mine? Yeah, the drones! Oh no, it really was like 19 workers. Oh, and one survived. That's so brutal. That's so brutal.